Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and today I wanted to make a quick little video talking about a very commonly theory-crafted item that I hear a lot about in PokeMMO, which is the Sweet Scent Ocarina. A lot of people have come into my streams or commented on my videos mentioning this mythical creation, this item that doesn't actually exist, and it's kind of interesting to me. The Sweet Scent Ocarina makes a lot of sense intuitively. Players think to themselves, you know what, we already have all these ocarinas for all these other HMs or other moves as such. It provides a convenience to the player. We wouldn't have to spend money on, from a selfish perspective or from a personal perspective, you wouldn't have to spend money on Lepa berries. You wouldn't have to spend money on these things, or, it'd be a lot easier. It would make things a lot easier for the game. But Sweet Scent Ocarina is the perfect example of why easier is not always better, and why there is a very, very thin line, or can be sometimes, between a broken or unbalanced update versus a quality of life update. A quality of life update is something that doesn't actually impact the efficiency or doesn't actually impact the balance of the game, but it usually adds a little bit of ease of use to some sort of system, correct, in the game. Whereas Sweet Scent Ocarina is very much a massive, huge, game-breaking buff, and we'll talk about why. So the reason why Sweet Scent Ocarina can never exist and why it's kind of a terrible idea beyond the surface, but I understand why it pops up in people's head. It's a terrible idea because it would essentially destroy the Lepa berry economy. Essentially, it would make things useless. Now, if you don't know, there's many ways to implement a Sweet Scent Ocarina. A Sweet Scent Ocarina is basically people saying, hey, what if we had an item that allowed you to endlessly sweet scent? Now, once again, it destroys Lepa berry economy. It gets rid of Lepas. Lepas already serve us that purpose, but they cost us money. That item would essentially just be doing that for free. That would, one, destroy berry farming and get rid of a money-making method within the game just to implement a new permanent item that would do that thing. It would make shiny hunting a lot easier. It would make Lepa berry farming a lot easier. It would make all shiny hunts a lot easier, not just ones that are Lepa hunts. Because if you have a Sweet Scent Ocarina, there's literally no reason to ever go back to the PC to heal for like close to PC hunts. So not only is it buffing Lepa shiny hunts, it's also buffing every single horde hunt in the entire game drastically. The amount of encounters you get per hour when using Lepas versus not using Lepas is pretty noticeable. I think it's around a 200 encounter per hour difference. So if you're doing ×5 hordes near a PC, you'll usually average around 1,000 encounters per hour. But if you're doing ×5 hordes with Lepas, and like continuously refreshing and refilling your Sweet Scent PP, you get around 1,200 to even up to like 1,400 encounters per hour. So it's like a 200 or even more encounter per hour difference. So you're buffing all shiny hunts by 20% or more, 25% or so at that point. Just to add a convenience. That is no longer a quality of life. That is no longer a convenience. That is a disgustingly huge buff to shiny hunting, correct? Which a lot of people would complain that shiny hunting is too hard in PokeMMO. I don't think so. I think it's in a perfect state. I think ×5 hordes are a really good, easy way to get a pretty quote-unquote easy shiny if you put in the time and effort. But I know that's might be a little bit more of a controversial opinion, which I understand. Now, continuing on. Whenever you add any sort of update to a game, there must be a good reason for it. You can't just add a Sweet Scent Ocarina because, you want to, right? If it's going to hurt other systems, there has to be another benefit or reason to add it. I can't think of any financial benefit or financial reason or economic reason or any healthy benefit to the game that Sweet Scent Ocarina would provide. It essentially would only hurt the economy and only hurt the game while helping the players, and you have to be really, really careful about that. Whenever we're talking about adding something to a game, you have to ask what is good for the game, not what is good for the players. Those are two very, very important questions. And hopefully, every single update that you add to a game answers both of those with a yes. An update should hopefully be helpful to the game and to the players. That's kind of the ideal situation. But we do have necessary evils, such as the PokeMMO breeding system or stuff like that, where it is very, very helpful to the game. But it is a little unintuitive to the players. But over the years, we've had it become more helpful to the players. There's just more of a learning barrier to entry there. But I'm getting off topic. Back to Sweet Scent Ocarina. Now, there are multiple ways to implement the Sweet Scent Ocarina, which is the most interesting part of this. But I think I haven't found a way that would make it like not broken or make it even worthwhile. So The first way we talked about is just an item that allows you to endlessly sweet scent, and that's it. Cut and dry, super easy. However, there are other ways, such as imagine an item like a sweet scent ocarina that you could charge with lepa berries, and then you could charge it with lepa berries, and it would just consume lepa berries, and then you could just sweet scent as many times as you put in lepa berries. Now, that is also useless because at that point, it's not providing any service. It's not doing anything. You're literally paying for an ocarina or an item. I guess the only service that would provide there is saving a Pokemon slot in your party. So let's say the ocarina charged with lepa berries, and it was 1-to-1. So every single lepa berry you put in would equal the 10 PP or whatever, the 10 sweet scents or whatever that would refresh or whatever. So you wouldn't need a sweet scent Pokemon in your party, and that's it. I could see that being implemented, but I just don't. Once again, I don't really see the reason. Like that's the closest version where I've found where it's like, okay, that's fine. But it just seems very needlessly complicated versus just having a sweet scent Pokemon in your party. I'm just trying to think, like, what are shiny hunts? What is a shiny hunt where you need to have, like, all 5 or 6 Pokemon in your party, like, for a specific shunt? Usually during shiny hunts, you don't need that many Pokemon. I guess we could use them for EV Train. I could be in favor of, or I could see a world where a Sweet Scent Ocarina is implemented where it uses lepa berries to be charged. It seems a little redundant, but I could understand that, right? So we can wrap our heads around that. Now there's a third option, a third variant of the Sweet Scent Ocarina that would be every 100 lepa berries or so put into the ocarina, you get like 1 free charge or something. You get like 1 to like 10 free charges or something like that every like 100 lepas you put in. I could even see that being implemented, but it would have to be really harsh. It can't be like, oh, every 100 lepas you get 10 free. It would probably have to be like 1 or something of the sort. It'd have to be a very, very low benefit because it's tough to have. It would be like an ocarina. It'd have like the 200 RP cost. It'd be like 400 or 500k on the GTL. So they want to have some benefit from it. But I think the middle ground one that we talked about is the best option. But even then, it seems a little redundant. But if people want to have that, if there's enough need for that, I guess it's okay. But at the same time, it's dev time. That's another thing you have to consider whenever wanting or requesting updates into the game is the dev time required. Whenever you are asking for one thing to be implemented, you are, by necessary effect, hurting the development time or taking development time away from other updates or more needed stuff. So I think it's okay to add stuff to a list or add stuff to a priority list or whatever. But I think it is important to understand focusing on which updates are more important for the community is always important. And I do think that. I've honestly been thinking in my head about this throughout the video. I've answered this question so many times on stream, but I honestly have never come to the conclusion that I feel like, yeah, if the community wanted that middle ground Sweet Scent Ocarina that just charged lepa berries, 1-to-1 ratio, so you wouldn't gain any extra things. If you just wanted that, just to be able to eliminate having a Sweet Scent Pokemon in your party, I'm fine with that personally. I think that's balanced if people really want that. Maybe I'm missing a great use out of it. I think the biggest thing would be EV training. I think the biggest thing would be if you want to EV train. For example, if I want to EV train 5 Pokemon on this account, I can't really do that because I need a Sweet Scent Pokemon. You could make a Smeargle for that. You can make a Smeargle with like discharge, like I'm doing here, discharge, and then like teleport or fly to get back to the PC, and then Sweet Scent. So you could make a perfect Smeargle for that. Or you could use ocarinas or stuff to get around that. So I use like Fly Ocarina or Teleport Ocarina. So you could technically do that. So I guess maybe adding a Sweet Scent Ocarina would be nice to eliminate that Pokemon slot during EV training and allow physically allowing you to EV train more Pokemon, which is more efficient versus having to get around to that fact with only Sweet Scent Smeargle existing and that being also your horde killing Pokemon. So I'd be okay with Sweet Scent Ocarina existing in that regard, but there's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of push for it with, I think, not enough thought behind it. And I think it is always really important to ask yourself, whenever requesting any sort of update for any game, how does this help and or hurt the game? And it's really important to prioritize the game over personal preference or over personal desire. Something I talk about is I'd be really happy if the devs added a shiny Shuckle hunting location in Johto, if they had a ×5 Shuckle horde in Johto, I'm okay with that. Even though it would like massively devalue my shiny Shuckle, the rarest shiny that I own, the shiny I care the most about, excuse me, I'd be okay with that because I think it's cool. I think newer players could then shiny hunt Shuckle. There'd be more into the game. It'd open up a new shiny hunt into the game. I think that's really cool. I'd be okay with that, even though it would devalue my stuff personally and like, you know, quote unquote hurt me. I think it's like a really cool thing. That's something that I think about. And I had to come to terms with that with the breeding system and everything as well. How that's very, very, very good for the game, even though it's kind of off-putting to new players or even veteran players like I was at the time alike. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts on Sweet Stock Arena. Let me know your thoughts on game development. Let me know your thoughts on how you ask yourself or how you talk to yourself about what is good for the game versus what is good for the player versus what is good for, you know, your personal desires, right? So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO content. Follow the Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord is linked down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, PayPal, and Venmo, all that stuff does help out a ton. I'm going to see you guys later. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.